Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, Our Moments with God, our moments with the Word of God, our moments with the love, mercy, and compassion of God, our moments with the holy ones of God, those who have gone before us, and those who are trying to live a holy life, and not to forget our moments with our own self to discover what is happening there and how, whether we are like the disciples who were so disappointed because Jesus had died and nothing was happening, although Jesus had already risen, as here we find in the risen Christ. Or maybe people are sad because tomorrow is the funeral of our dearly beloved Pope Francis. Before we come further, I would like to say, if you like, you may please subscribe to this channel and also share the video with others. So as I said, tomorrow is the funeral of our beloved Pope Francis in Rome. The Mass will be held at the Vatican, and then his body will be carried to the Basilica of Mary Maggiore, where he had expressed his desire to be buried. And soon after that, the whole process of electing the new Pope will begin among the cardinals. It seems there are 137 cardinals who are eligible to elect the Pope. So that will be the new conclave. But what happened during the last conclave when Pope Francis was elected? It seems there is a custom that just before the elections, each cardinal, there is enough time to discuss and to come to a kind of an unspoken understanding, come to know each other, what are their preferences, etc. But then each one is given about 3 minutes of time to speak about their idea of what they would like the church to be. And the reason it seems Pope Francis was then elected in 2013 on the 13th of March, because among the other things, he made a very poignant remark. And he had said, I would prefer a church that is bruised, hurting, and dirty because it has been on streets, rather than a church which is unhealthy from being confined and from clinging to its own security. That ultimately, it seems, clinched the papacy to Pope Francis. Of course, then he kept on speaking about how he wanted the church, a poor church for the poor. And in all his 12 years of papacy, he has gone around showing this, how the church should be on streets and dirty and bruised. Yes, my dear friends, in this Easter week, we are finding that the women who went to the grave, they are bruised. They are unconsolable. They are crying because of their Lord. Similarly, the two disciples who were on the way to Emmaus, they are just so deeply hurt or involved in themselves. They are only looking at how they are feeling and what is happening to them, rather than thinking out of the box, trying to recall what Jesus had told them before he could die or during his lifetime. This is what happens to us when we are too unconsolable, when we're too worried about our own problems, too focused on our own security, when we cling on, as Pope Francis then, not yet Francis, that time Cardinal Jorge Maria Bergoglio from Argentina, had spoken these words, I would prefer a church that is bruised, hurting, and dirty because it has been on the streets. Yes, the two disciples to Emmaus were on the streets, not because they wanted to proclaim the the life of Jesus. No, they were only worried about why. We had thought that he would save us from the Roman Empire and that he would be the Messiah. And although he did great things and spoke great things, but now he is dead, and it is already 3 days that nothing has happened. You see, because they were so engrossed in themselves. And then worse still, both in the case of, for example, Maria Magdala, she looked into the grave, saw two angels, turned around and saw Jesus but did not recognize him because she is so concerned or engrossed with her own grief. Yes, grief is there in life. That is what he showed before he rose from the dead. Grief on the cross. He suffered on the cross. And this grief is part of life, your life and my life. We have to go through this grief, humility, humiliation, all those things that are not always associated with holiness as we consider holiness and things like that. The same thing with the other disciples who were closed in one room out of the fear of Jews. Remember that passage? They were closed themselves for the fear of the Jews, not out. That is what Pope Francis tried to say. Let the church be on the streets. Let it be bruised. Let it be dirty. Let it be hurting. But it is better to have that kind of church than a sick church, an unhealthy church, which is clinging to its own security and confines itself within the four walls of the building of the church or of our institutions, of our convents, or of our parishes. This is a wonderful message that the Pope, the then Cardinal, gave to the cardinals, and that really clinched, if we can use that word, his papacy, and then he has gone on further. Tomorrow, of course, is the funeral. Today, people are still mourning, filing past in the Vatican, St. Peter's Basilica, where he is kept in state. People can still visit his mortal remains, pay their last respect. Those who want to maybe cry, but never forget. Yes, crying is all right at the loss of somebody, but never forget what he wanted the church to be. And my dear friends, let us go out with that mission which he started, not holding back, not being confined to the four walls of the church. Let it be hurt, let us be hurt or bruised or dirty, because we are out in the mission of proclaiming the word of God, the mercy of God, the love of God, which he always emphasized: mercy, love, compassion for the poor, the marginalized, the migrants, and all those backward people of Gaza, of Rohingya Muslims. Remember, during his trip to Bangladesh, he went to the Rohingya camp to visit them. That is his papacy. Let us carry on his mission further. And if you like, you may please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.